Contrary to popular mythology, globalization and technology haven't really reduced the number of jobs available to Americans. These transformations have reduced their pay. I mean, it's not just that wages are stagnating, but when you take into consideration rising costs, the rising costs of rents or homes, dramatically increasing costs of healthcare, the rising costs of childcare, and also the rising costs of higher education, rising much faster than inflation. Take all of these into consideration, and you find that it's much worse than just stagnating wages. It's basically middle-class families, often with two wage earners, working harder and harder and harder and getting nowhere. All of this time, the economy continues to grow. Look, here is gross domestic product growth from 1929 to 2011. The economy overall has done extremely well, and productivity keeps on increasing. We are producing more and more and more and more and more value. That's a big, big success story. But here is the problem, here's the puzzle, because if you look at the average hourly earnings of production workers, the average hourly earning continued to rise until the late 1970s, and then something happened. Flattening wages. Look at the gap. Something happened in the late 1970s. Something happened in the late 1970s, folks. By the mid-1950s, more than a third of all workers belonged to a union. This gave average workers bargaining leverage to get a larger share of the growing pie. We created the largest middle class the world had ever seen. And that middle class was part of a virtuous cycle. The wider the prosperity, the more people were included in that prosperity, the more that prosperity generated more prosperity.